Hello everyone. This is part 2 of our troubleshooting the Colle system video, and we're going to talk about the move Bishop G4. Alright, so if you notice, in both videos so far, Black has managed to get his bishop outside of the pawn chain early. The first video we looked at Bishop F5, and we looked at some possible plans that White can do to try to counter. One was to basically wait till Black plays E6. We play C4, of course, and transpose into some kind of Queen's Gambit, whether it's a Slav or Queen's Gambit decline. And one of the plans we can play is to try to attack the bishop with Knight H4 and exchange the bishop on G6 and at least have the bishop pair. With this move Bishop G4, it takes away that option because, of course, the queen is exposed. So now a plan that is viable is to play H3, questioning the bishop right away. So Black has several choices. One is to immediately give up the bishop pair, which is a positive for White in the position, because the position is just beginning, just starting the game. You already have the bishop pair as far as an advantage, and then you can steer the game in a way where it will be conducive to your bishop pair. The other choice Black has is to play bishop h5, of course, maintaining the pin. But what that does is takes the bishop off this diagonal, so he cannot retreat and protect this pawn. So once the bishop commits, as we see in this game between Pates and Muschuk 2014, then c4 comes out. E6, maintaining the center, knight c3, bishop e7, and queen b3, and this is the basic plan, which is very similar to the plan with bishop f5. Again, we're not worried about this transaction here. Bishop takes f3. Well, first of all, in this position, you would just play queen takes b7, which is practically winning here due to the rook being exposed. But just for illustration, we're not afraid of this pawn structure. This is a good, strong pawn structure where White has the bishop pair and is very similar to Shagorn's defense, whereby you will use this very powerful pawn structure to gradually drive the Black pieces away from the center. You have your bishop pair, so as the position opens up, your position becomes stronger due to the pair of bishops. And also you have open files to use with the rooks, so we're not worried about that. So back to the game, queen b3 was played, and then knight c6. What I will tell you is don't be eager to grab pawns in the opening, okay? For instance, in this position, queen takes b7 is an obvious positional mistake. This is a mistake that a lot of beginning players would make. And then, you could get in trouble here. Alright, Black is too far ahead in development for you to be just stealing pawns. Instead, continue. C takes d5 was played, E takes d5, and then knight e5 was played, excuse me. Castles, a3, knight takes c6 could have been played. This was a rapid game, by the way. Bishop d6, so now you see this battle for e5. F4, knight e4, knight takes, d takes, and now king f2. Bishop takes, d takes, and now rook b8 as the pawn was legitimately under duress. Queen c2, attacking this pawn. Rook e8, again not going after this pawn here, even though it's possible. But I picked this game because I wanted to show you another positional motif that often arises in this kind of position. Usually you will see it in the Slav defense, whereby this bishop, after coming out to f5, will sometimes get trapped. Not get trapped, but blocked out of the game. Right? It gets pushed away and pushed to the side, and it's almost as if White is operating with just the extra piece. Alright, and this is something that happens in a Slav if Black is not careful in the deployment of that bishop here. Okay, so in this game we see, at least right now, the bishop is kind of out of the game. All right. Now, again, I know the move f5 is very tempting, but the position will backfire on you. Again, look at the development. White has no development here, so he has to keep, or she has to keep the position closed. Just to illustrate that for you, if f5, then just simply trapping the bishop, then simply just bishop takes f5, just opening up everything. G takes, then the rook comes crashing in, and then, I mean, you're in all types of trouble here. I mean, the king is exposed. It's just a matter of time. I mean, what are you going to do? King g1, rook takes f5, and this is just this is a bad position. Black has tremendous compensation for the pawns. Okay, so bishop b5 was played in the position, then f5, and here Pates made an error and played g5 and freed the bishop. Okay, again, it was a rapid game, so it's not a big deal as far as I'm concerned, and it's outside of the scope of this video, but the correct move was king g3, and keeping the bishop, again, kind of out of play. The bishop would have to come here, right, but then leave the protection of the pawn. So maybe but then after going here, queen takes e4 with this attack. So king g3 was the better move to keep the bishop out of play. But needless to say, that's beyond the scope of what we're talking about, and white did go on to win this game. So what are the general motifs here again? One that I just talked about, sometimes this bishop can be kind of forced out of play. Okay, especially after h3, the bishop goes to h5 and kind of just lingers there too long. You can play a timely g4, f4, etc. Not necessarily to trap the bishop, but just to get it out of play. Again, on bishop g4, the same plan applies as with bishop f5, which is c4, followed by the moves knight c3 and queen b3 with the attack on the queen side. And that's your general plan. Again, unfortunately, you can't just play the Colle system proper and expect to get a strong typical Colle system game. The bishop on this bishop on d3 is one of the probably the strongest piece in the Colle system. So when the bishop comes out to f5 and g4 like that, one of the things this bishop will do is trade it off almost immediately, and that's just gonna give black instant equality. So your best bet is to transpose into one of these other plans. So with that, please leave comments below. If there's other openings you want me to discuss, I will. We're gonna look at another video with another annoying plan that black uses when he kind of uses like Indian defenses, right? He plays like knight f6 and then g6, and that has the same type of effect against this bishop, and that g6 blunts the bishop. So it kind of makes it stupid to put the bishop on d3 when you're just hitting on g6 like that. So that'll be our next video where we discuss white options against that kind of plan when you're trying to play the Colle system. So until then, please like and subscribe. Please donate to my channel. Also check the links below for DVDs/books related to the opening that you see on board, which is Colle system / Slav or Queen's Gambit Decline complex. And I'll see you on the next video.